तो आप काउंसिल में ऐसा क्या एलिमेंट ला रही होंगी? एग्ज़ैम्पशन है, फिर पता लगता है एग्ज़ैम्पशन नहीं है।
There have been a lot of policy changes, and it can be very, very disheartening.
उसके अलावा जो डिस्क्वालिफ़िकेशन का इतना बड़ा इश्यू चल रहा है, तो उसके हवाले से आप क्या सोचती हैं? जो पॉलिसीज़ में चेंज आ रहा है पिछले 2-3 साल के अंदर, वो काफ़ी ज़्यादा फ्रीक्वेंट है।
So let's see how we can make ICAP great again. You
हुँ।
talk about equal rights, so fight on equal terms. It is very easy for people to criticize
जो अनाउंसमेंट हो रही है, वो बहुत ज़्यादा हैसल में हो rही है।
if they are not being able to pass their exams, their ICAP exams in 4 years. Maybe they are not cut out for this.
Looking at the recent decrease in the stipend as well. In that time, the overseas members they are looking back at the ICAP for the support, for the guidance. क्या आपके प्लान में कुछ इस तरह के benefits हैं for the local members?
But then what is life? Life is about taking risks, right?
So how would you reflect on your so far performance in the role at the SRC committee?
चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंसी की फील्ड में हमारे चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट्स के ऊपर अक्सर एक लेबल लगाया जाता है कि इनकी कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स इतनी अच्छी नहीं है, ये अपने आप को प्रेजेंट इतने अच्छे से नहीं कर पाते हैं, या फिर इनकी नेटवर्किंग इतनी स्ट्रांग नहीं है। और फाइनेंस की दुनिया में एक बहुत बड़ा मिसकंसेप्शन है कि चूंकि यहाँ पर ह्यूज नंबर्स इन्वॉल्व होते हैं, बहुत ज़्यादा प्रेशर होता है और लेट आवर्स होते हैं, जिसकी वजह से ये फीमेल्स के लिए बहुत ज़्यादा चैलेंजिंग बन जाती है। लेकिन आज की जो हमारी गेस्ट हैं, उन्होंने न सिर्फ इन मिथ्स को और इन बैरियर्स को ब्रेक किया, बल्कि शी प्रोग्रेस एंड वेंट ऑन टू बिकम दी पार्टनर इन दी इंटरनेशनल बिग 4 फर्म्स। आपकी नेटवर्किंग किसी तारुफ की मोहताज नहीं है। कई जाने माने कॉन्फ्रेंसेस, सेमिनार्स, टीवी एंड रेडियो शोज़ में आप एज अ पैनलिस्ट, एज अ स्पीकर अपना रोल एक्टिवली प्ले करती हैं। बहुत सारे इंटरनेशनल एंड नेशनल फोरम्स के ऊपर आपको विमेन एम्पावरमेंट एंड द लीडिंग विमेन इन द फाइनेंस फील्ड के लिए कई सारे अवार्ड्स मिले हैं। She is the mentor to the ICAP, and she is also the first elected female chairperson of the SRC committee. जी हाँ, आप बिल्कुल ठीक समझ रहे हैं। आज की हमारी गेस्ट दैट इज़ दी मैडम मुनीज़ा उस्मान बट, पार्टनर KPMG तासीर हादी एंड को। तो आएँ आज हम उनसे मिलते हैं, उनकी लाइफ, उनकी जर्नी के बारे में मालूम करते हैं, और साथ ही साथ चूँकि वो ICAP के अपकमिंग काउंसिल इलेक्शन में कॉन्टेस्ट कर रही हैं, तो हम कुछ उनसे क्वेश्चंस करेंगे, ये जानने की कोशिश करेंगे कि उनका क्या विज़न है और वो किस तरह से कम्युनिटी को सर्व करेंगी आफ्टर गेटिंग इलेक्टेड इन दी काउंसिल।
अस्सलाम वालेकुम मैडम, थैंक यू सो मच फॉर जॉइनिंग अस। क्या हाल चाल है आपके?
वालेकुम अस्सलाम, अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह।
स्टार्ट करते हैं, आप हमें अपनी जर्नी के बारे में शेयर करें कि हाउ यू स्टार्टेड चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंसी।
And then went on to become the partner at the Big Four international firm KPMG। और उसी के साथ जैसे हमारे पास जब चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट अपनी आर्टिकल्स कंप्लीट करके फर्म से आते हैं, तो उनके पास 2 ऑप्शन होते हैं। आइदर दे गो फॉर द इंडस्ट्री के फिर हम CFO, CEO या डायरेक्टर्स की तरफ जाते हैं, या फिर आप फर्म में स्टे करते हैं और फिर अपने करियर के पीक लेवल यानी पार्टनर्स की तरफ जाते हैं। तो आप माशाल्लाह पार्टनर बन चुकी हैं, बट आफ्टर दैट स्टिल आप बहुत ज़्यादा एम्बिशियस हैं और आईकेप के जितने अफेयर्स हैं उनमें भी पार्टिसिपेट करती हैं। तो व्हाट इज़ द ऑब्जेक्टिव्स, व्हाट आर द मोटिवेशन दैट कीप्स यू गोइंग और व्हाट आर योर ऑब्जेक्टिव्स?
Okay, Sadak, if I can start with my journey, I think there are a lot of lessons to be learned from my journey. First of all, लोग जब failure को face करते हैं ना, so they start thinking, oh, it's the end of the world. So I faced a failure very early on in my, I would say, academic life. I wanted to join IBA, and that I'm talking about the late 90s. Okay, so I wanted to join IBA, but I could not get into IBA, and I was like wondering then what can I do next. And this scheme of ICAP came where they were taking students after intermediate or A levels, the big basic accountancy course. And I gave the aptitude test for that. I passed that, and that's how my CA journey started. Prior to that, I had no knowledge about what CA is all about, and I was taking each day as it came. I knew it was a very tough profession because I remember my mother telling me that she had heard that people don't pass CA so easily. And I think since the beginning, I was a very rebellious child. I was like, always ready to take on challenges. And I was like, okay, let me see what this is all about and, see why they say that the passing rate is so low. And then I did my basic accountancy course. And then when I passed that, I joined KPMG and I qualified in the year 2000 and I became a partner in 2008. I'm the first female partner in the Big Four firms of Pakistan.
Mhm.
And my motivation for ICAP, as you said, so I would say my journey with ICAP naturally started as a CA student,
Mhm.
and at that time, ICAP used to conduct classes in that same building
Yes.
that we have right now, and so I have very fond memories with ICAP,
Mhm.
because I feel my journey has been walking the corridors as a student, submitting my forms, coming for my classes, and from that, becoming a member. And I feel that it is very easy for people to criticize from the comfort of their home or their offices. And the real challenge is to come out in the field and make a difference. Anybody can criticize. Naturally, it's a democratic world, if we can say so. So
Mhm.
everybody has a voice;
Yes.
they can criticize. The real challenge is come forward and make the change that you want to see in the world.
Mhm.
So with this, I would say ideology is why I came forward for ICAP, because I feel that's my alma mater, and whatever I am, it is all due to ICAP and the qualification that I have had. And then secondly, I would say my firm KPMG.
Mhm.
My journey with ICAP started long time back. After I qualified, I spent a few years, and then I was related in examination related activities.
Mhm.
Then I was also part of the Best Corporate Reports Committee. And I remember I worked very closely with Abdul Rahim Surya, who asked, because the women in ICAP were very, I think, they were not so united. They were all working in their own capacity in silos. So I remember, like, he is the one who brought us together and said, you should form a group. And so that, when you are united, you will attract more females in the profession.
Mhm.
And from that, now we've seen that we have two council members, and there's no separate seat for women as we have in Pakistan's, National Assembly, Provincial Assembly. There is, and initially, when I remember one of the female contestants was, going to contest the election. So we had thought that maybe they should have a separate seat for females.
Mhm.
And the feedback that we got was, no, why? You talk about equal rights, so fight on equal terms. So at that time, and we thought that made sense.
Mhm.
And from that, we made a women committee, and then that's an established committee of the council now.
Mhm.
I'm one of the mentors for ICAP, and I mentor young professionals. And it is so nice and so heartening to see when people come to you with, when they are like, not sure about what they need to
When
do,
they are
how
lost.
they need to proceed. They're lost, and you guide them. So I'm also a mentor for
Yes.
ICAP. And then last but not the least, 4 years back, I contested for the SRC,
Yes.
and I'm part of the
Uh-huh.
SRC. And through the SRC, I think we've achieved a lot. Now, I don't think it's a good omen, because although I congratulate all the SRC winners that they've come unopposed, but I think this is something that the profession really needs to look into. Why did they come unopposed? Why was there such less interest in the fraternity to offer themselves to contest for SRC elections?
Mhm.
So this is something I think which is food for thought for ICAP, because they need to know, why are people so disenchanted?
Should be healthy competition.
Of course, coming unopposed, naturally, it's a good thing. You don't have to
Mhm.
go to the challenge of being elected and all. But at the same time, it's you need to go deeper than that and see, why did people not offer themselves for SRC?
So we'll come to the SRC achievement and the role later on. But the main question is कि आप ICAP काउंसिल के इलेक्शन भी कंटेस्ट कर रही हैं. So सिमिलरली एक कंपनी की भी जब हम बात करते हैं तो उसके बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स के ऊपर डिफरेंट डाइवर्सिटी में बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर होते हैं, मार्केटिंग डायरेक्टर, HR डायरेक्टर, टेक्नोलॉजी एंड व्हाट्सएवर. तो इसी तरह अगर मैं काउंसिल की बात करूँ तो वहाँ पर भी काउंसिल मेंबर्स होंगे. सो आप एज़ अ काउंसिल मेंबर अगर आप इलेक्ट होती हैं, तो आप काउंसिल में ऐसा क्या एलिमेंट ला रही होंगी या कौन-सा ऐसा मिसिंग एलिमेंट है जो आपको लगता है कि वो आप काउंसिल में फ़िल कर पा रही होंगी?
Acha, when I took the decision of contesting for the council, it's a huge decision, because it's a great responsibility, and it's a trust that you have to deliver. What I'm going to do, I think my manifesto and my vision and all has been shared largely with people. It's going to, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step.
Mhm.
I firmly believe that first of all, before you can bring any change, you need to take a sounding off. I think we need to take a sounding off from ICAP employees,
Mhm.
from members, from students, all the stakeholders that are involved.
Mhm.
And we have to see how we can make ICAP if I can say, great again,
Mm-hmm.
but that's what, they usually the slogan, let's make America great again.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see how we can make ICAP great again.
Mm-hmm.
My first, I think, prerogative would be that, for any institution, their employees are their greatest asset. So I think we have to first work on ICAP employees
Mm-hmm.
and see, where we can help them. Because
Mm-hmm.
if they are happy working for ICAP, ICAP would deliver.
Mm-hmm.
Next comes, like, the members.
Mhm.
There are so many things that need to be done. Like, we have to find out why our members are so disenchanted. To make that connect between the institute and the members, and see how we can help them. Now
Mm-hmm.
it's the form, like, the era of digital technology. How we can upscale them.
Mm-hmm.
Upscaling is very important, so that they remain relevant. So that a
Mm-hmm.
profession remains relevant. There
Right.
is so much talk about AI taking over. And then there's also a lot of ESG talk.
Mm-hmm.
How can we remain so relevant,
Okay.
and what the ICAP qualification can do, so that our members can take benefit not only locally but also abroad. I'm a lot of our fraternity members are overseas.
Mm-hmm.
There's no denying the fact. There must be some talent in them that they've reached that point, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we just have to see how we can harness that, how we can, like, gain momentum on that, how we can help other members,
Mm-hmm.
who are trying to, like, come into the global arena. So and then naturally I would say the students, because
Mm-hmm.
that's where the pipeline comes in.
So if I talk about that, your main motive would be to consolidate everyone and consider the needs of all the stakeholders, like from starting from the students, the
No,
employees,
employees first.
members, student, including the overseas members as
Of
well,
course,
right?
members includes them.
And the gap that is about the connectivity between the ICAP and the stakeholders. So you're going to fill this gap, right? That's great, right? So अच्छा मैडम, एक चीज़ हमने ये भी रिसेंट कुछ 1-2 साल में देखे हैं कि आईकैप की जितनी भी पॉलिसीज़ में चेंज आया, क्योंकि आपने बात की स्टूडेंट्स आर आल्सो योर स्टेक होल्डर्स, राइट? सो जो पॉलिसीज़ में चेंज आ रहे हैं पिछले 2-3 साल के अंदर, वो काफ़ी ज़्यादा फ्रीक्वेंट है और काफ़ी ज़्यादा ऐसे हैं कि एक चेंज आता है, उसके बाद फिर उसको अंडू किया जाता है। फिर उसके बाद अच्छा उसके अंदर भी कुछ क्लैरिटी नहीं होती है, यानी अगर एग्ज़ैम्पशन की बात करूँ तो एग्ज़ैम्पशन है, फिर पता लगता है एग्ज़ैम्पशन नहीं है। उसके अलावा जो डिस्क्वालिफ़िकेशन का इतना बड़ा इश्यू चल रहा है, तो उसके हवाले से आप क्या सोचती हैं कि आप किस तरह इन तमाम चीज़ों को स्ट्रीमलाइन करेंगी? और किस तरह से आप ऐसा करेंगे कि एक लॉन्ग टर्म डिसीजंस हो, लॉन्ग टर्म पॉलिसी मेकिंग हो और स्पेशली डिस्क्वालिफ़िकेशन सिनेरियो के ऊपर? आपका क्या पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू है? और इफ यू गेट इलेक्टेड, व्हाट विल यू डू फॉर दैट?
Okay, it is very important, चाहे ICAP हो या हमारी कंट्री हो, कंसिस्टेंसी ऑफ पॉलिसी इज द मेन थिंग.
हुँ,
प्रॉब्लम ये है, देखो, आप पाकिस्तान की भी आप इकोनॉमी देख लें. हम इकोनॉमिकली क्यों हम इतना नहीं कर पाते, बिकॉज our economy is interrelated to politics, and because there are different political parties, they have different views. Because of that, there's no consistency of policy, and that affects you economically.
हुँ,
Similarly, at ICAP also, I think the president is for 1 year, the council is for 4 years. So, and everybody comes with it with their own viewpoints. This is something, that's why I said sounding off. If you understood what I said, you need to take a sounding off at large from all stakeholders to know, okay, this is my 10-year plan. This is what is going to be for the next 10 years.
हुँ,
And there are not major changes in those,
हुँ,
because you have consulted your stakeholders and then you go ahead and make your policy.
हुँ,
I understand that there have been a lot of policy changes, and it can be very, very disheartening for students or members, but the thing is, we really need to sit down and get our act together, because this is a governance matter.
एग्ज़ैक्टली।
The governance has to improve. You have to consult all your stakeholders, take a sounding off, see what is required, see what is the call for the day, see what are international best practices, and then make those policies, and make those policies for consistent period of for 5 to 10 years or something.
हुँ,
Naturally, very frequent changes in policy are going to affect the profession as well as the institution.
हुँ, एंड अबाउट द डिस्क्वालिफ़िकेशन थिंग?
Okay, now for disqualification, which disqualification are you talking about? That you cannot, the CAF disqualification?
यस।
Okay, so what I understand, I am not part of the decision makers for these policies as yet, but what I understand is that that you have to clear your CAF in 4 years, right? And there is a time limit for all qualifications internationally also, in which a student can appear and pass his exams, right? But that whether it's going to be 3 years, 4 years, 10 years, that is something that has to be thought through. Now, as I said, I'm not a
Yes.
decision maker in that as yet. I
Mhm.
don't know about the future, but I feel like there should be something which should be rational. You know, students should also need to realize that if they are not being able to pass their exams, their CAF exams in 4 years, maybe they are not cut out for this, and maybe they need to pursue something else. I understand they've invested a lot of time and energy in this profession, in trying to, like, you know, pursue this qualification, but then they should see about something related. You know, why be stuck on one thing? If I can quote from my journey, at that, as I mentioned earlier, I didn't pass the IBA test. I was not stuck on it. I said, let me see what lies ahead. What are the other options available to me? So I believe in 4 years, and I understand that the council had some data analytics with them where they tried to figure out, you know, how long does it take for a student to pass, and they thought that maybe, I think, 90% or more students pass within 4 years. That is why they came out with that decision.
Okay.
I'm not defending the
Yes.
decision, and I feel that really needs to be looked into. As I said, you know, consult the students, consult international practices, consult other stakeholders, and see, you know, how it has to be, like, panned out. But I also tell the students that if something is not working out, check other options and see what
Exactly.
you can do.
Exactly.
Then the other disqualification about if you pass your CAF and you do not get, you know, an
The
articleship in a firm, you know, the supply is more, the demand is also there. But you know what I have seen, because naturally being one of the big two, I would say, because now they're not big four firms in Pakistan partner, I can see that naturally everybody wants to get the best in life.
Exactly.
That's a human psychology, okay? But you also have to see that there's only a limited number of seats available over there. Okay. And if you do not get over there in those firms, in those big two firms, or in the middle tier firms, then there are also training organizations outside practice. You know, ICAP has done that for some reason. You know, they don't want the students to just be stuck waiting for an opportunity to get into a firm. I think what I last saw the statistics, there are over 200 firms, audit firms in Karachi, I would say. And there are around, I think, 41 training organizations outside practice. I think they don't utilize those. You know, students are just stuck. I can imagine, you know, like, it is very difficult.
Fear of something new, something
Of course,
different,
it is
obviously.
difficult for them.
And it's
I
about the
understand.
career.
True. You know, as I said, everybody wants the best.
Yes.
But if the best is not there, to the other alternative. You know, try that out.
अच्छा मैडम, जो आपने बात कही कि काउंसिल के अंदर प्रेसिडेंट 1 साल के लिए होता है, काउंसिल 4 साल के लिए होती है, जो पॉलिसीज़ होती हैं वो कंसिस्टेंट होनी चाहिए, लॉन्ग टर्म के लिए होनी चाहिए। व्हाट डू यू फील कि डू आईकैप रियली नीड्स फुल टाइम चीफ एग्जीक्यूटिव जो इन तमाम चीज़ों को इंश्योर कर सके? क्योंकि रिसेंटली अब जैसे हमने कैफ की डिस्क्वालिफिकेशन की बात की, तो पहले हमने स्टूडेंट्स को डिस्क्वालीफाई किया, उसके बाद आईकैप ने अब एक नई स्कीम ऑफ क्वालिफिकेशन इंट्रोड्यूस कराई है, दैट इज़ CAA। अब उस CAA के अंदर आप उनको वापस से एक रूट दे रहे हैं कि वो दे कैन एंटर दी CA एग्जामिनेशन और दी CA क्वालिफिकेशन। लेकिन उसमें एक बात ये है कि उसमें उस अनाउंसमेंट के अंदर एक छोटी सी बात एंड में लिखी है कि दैट इज़ सब्जेक्ट टू अप्रूवल फ्रॉम द दैट इज़ व्हाट पार्लियामेंट। परसेप्शन ऐसा जाता है कि जो डिसीजन मेकिंग हो रही है, जो अनाउंसमेंट हो रही है, वो बहुत ज़्यादा हैसल में हो रही है। उसके ऊपर इतना ज़्यादा जो है ना वो सोचा नहीं जा रहा है, क्योंकि ये अनाउंसमेंट अगर एक चीज़ अप्रूव नहीं हुई थी पार्लियामेंट से, सो शुड नॉट मेक द अनाउंसमेंट, क्योंकि स्टूडेंट्स ऑब्वियसली उनके सेंटिमेंट्स, उनकी प्लानिंग, तमाम चीज़ें उससे अट्रैक्टेड हैं। सो व्हाट डू यू थिंक कि इसके लिए क्या एक सॉल्यूशन होना चाहिए?
I completely agree with you. You know, like, till something is not approved, I think you should not bring it forward.
ICAP.
But I think there's a lot of pressure on the people who brought it out, you know, given the circumstances, you know, that are right now, you know, taking place. I cannot comment on any other people's behavior, but yes, I do firmly believe that until something is not approved, it should not come out in the open. You know? And as I said, sounding off is very important. I'll say it again and again, because if something is not thought out properly at all quarters, don't bring it out. You know, it just creates more confusion, as you said yourself.
Yes.
And when you talked about the president, the council term of 4 years, I also come from the school of thought that I think we need proper governance at ICAP,
The chief executive.
transparency at ICAP, you know, and what decisions and what, you know, goes into decision making has to be more transparent. You know, what the council members, you know, have decided behind closed doors, that needs to be communicated more efficiently and more effectively with the basis and also the rationale behind such decisions, because that is where the disconnect comes from.
Exactly.
You know?
अच्छा, एक और चीज़ फ्रॉम योर आंसर, एज यू सेड के कैफ की जिस तरह जो स्टूडेंट्स पास आउट हो रहे हैं उनकी सप्लाई बहुत ज़्यादा है, एंड ऑब्वियसली द डिमांड इन द फर्म दैट इज़ लिमिटेड, ऑलराइट, ऑब्वियसली देयर आर मेनी अदर फैक्टर्स, बिजनेस थिंग एंड ऑल थिंग। इसी तरह अगर मैं बात करता हूँ जो मेंबर्स पास आउट होते हैं, यानी वो आर्टिकल्स कंप्लीट करके जाते हैं, तो दे हैव टू ऑप्शन, आइदर टू स्टे इन पाकिस्तान, गो फॉर फार्म्स और द इंडस्ट्री, और दे मूव आउट ऑफ द पाकिस्तान। लेकिन रिसेंटली हमें पता है कि वेस्ट साइड पे जो एंटी इमिग्रेंट वेव का जो ना बहुत ज़्यादा बज़वर्ड चल रहा है। और उसके अलावा जो मिडल ईस्ट की अगर मैं बात करता हूँ, तो मिडल ईस्ट में देयर आर सम वीज़ा इश्यूज़। तो और ऑब्वियसली आईकैप के हाथ में पाकिस्तान की मार्केट या इकॉनमी को ग्रो करना नहीं है। वी आर नॉट गोइंग टू डिमांड इट फ्रॉम द आईकैप काउंसिल। बट डोंट यू थिंक कि जो मिडल ईस्ट में या वेस्ट में हमें डिग्री का इशू आ रहा है हमारे अकाउंटेंट्स को, या यूनिवर्सिटीज़ के साथ एफिलिएशन का आ रहा है, या आईकैप की रिकॉग्निशन का आ रहा है अराउंड द ग्लोब, उसको हमें रिजॉल्व करना चाहिए? अगर करना चाहिए तो व्हाट आर योर प्लान्स?
Most definitely करना चाहिए, because I think this talk has been going on for so long.
Yes.
As I said, I don't know as yet. I'm not part of the decision making process.
Mhm.
I've not been in the previous council or the council before that to know what is stopping them from solving this issue. But I do understand there's a grave issue facing our members, and if I come, I'll try to the best of my abilities to see what can be done.
Mhm.
But this is something that really is affecting them.
Exactly.
Like whenever I go like overseas and meet overseas members, and even over here, people are very worried about doing CA, but CA is a qualification and not a degree.
Mm.
And now, this has always been the case, but the problem now is that your visa, your job prospects and all are now depending on this.
Exactly.
So I will try to the best of my abilities to see how I can liaise with other universities and see how this can be solved. But right now, I don't know what has gone into the decision making of the current council
Mhm.
members. But when I take inshallah, if I come in the council,
Mhm.
I would really see what can be done to resolve this issue.
सही, सही। अच्छा मैम, जैसे हमने ये बात शुरू से की, आपने जिस तरह बताया कि विदाउट आईकैप वी आर नथिंग, हमारी पहचान आईकैप है, हमें जो इज़्ज़त मिलती है या हमारी रिकॉग्निशन है वो आईकैप से। लेकिन चूँकि मैं एक टाइम था कि सेकंडमेंट पे भी गया था, तो वहाँ मैंने एक चीज़ नोटिस की कि जो आईकैप के मेंबर्स हैं, मिडल ईस्ट में भी और वेस्ट में भी कुछ दोस्त हैं, कुछ सीनियर्स हैं, कुछ टीचर्स बताते हैं कि आईकैप के मेंबर्स एज़ कम्पेयर टू द इंडियन चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट्स, एज़ कम्पेयर टू द एसीसीए और मे बी आईसीडब्ल्यू, वो क्वांटिटी में कम है। एंड इफ देयर इज़ लेस क्वांटिटी, ऑब्वियसली आवर डोमिनेंस रिड्यूसेस, और एक कार्टेल उन्होंने बनाया हुआ है जिसकी वजह से वो हमें इतनी इंक्लूसिविटी नहीं मिल पाती है। सो डोंट यू थिंक कि आईकैप शुड ऑल्सो फोकस ऑन दिस थिंग कि हम ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा मेंबर्स को हमारे बढ़ाने की कोशिश करें, हमारी क्वालिफ़िकेशन को के अंदर से जितनी कन्फ्यूजन्स हैं, क्योंकि देखिए ना, अभी हमारे पास एक कैप क्वालिफाइड स्टूडेंट है जो कि एक सिंपल रूट से आ रहा है, एक अब सीए रूट से आएगा। हमारे पास ट्रेनिंग के मल्टीपल ऑप्शन स्टार्ट हो चुके हैं, जिसमें ऑब्वियसली एम्प्लॉयर्स के लिए, फर्म्स के लिए बहुत ज़्यादा कन्फ्यूजन क्रिएट होगी। इवन जो फॉरेन एम्प्लॉयर है उसके लिए भी इतनी ज़्यादा कन्फ्यूजन क्रिएट होंगी। और कुछ दिनों पहले मैं एक साहब की मैं नाम नहीं लूँगा, लेकिन उनकी एक पोस्ट देख रहा था, एंड ही वाज़ बैशिंग आईकैप, कि आईकैप इतनी कन्फ्यूजन्स क्रिएट कर रहा है, यू शुड नॉट गो फॉर आईकैप। इट रियली टचेस माय हार्ट के बिकॉज़ वी आर ऑल नोन फॉर द आईकैप। So how do you see this thing, and how do you look forward to resolve these issues?
Musaddiq, as I said earlier on, everybody has a free voice. They are entitled to their views, and I also believe we can agree to disagree without being disagreeable. So that goes for what you said about somebody posting about bashing ICAP. I think it's fine.
Constructive criticism is okay,
Yeah.
but how we are going to solve it?
Okay, so the thing is as I said, it's a team effort.
Exactly.
No one person can take the credit or do anything themselves. If a like-minded council comes into play, I would say, then these are matters that really need to be looked into. As I said, branding requires a lot of effort. Looking into all these issues requires a lot of effort. So there's a Herculean task, I would say, in front of the council that is coming in. And one more thing, I think accountability is very important. I see that when the people come into a position, they feel that now that they attain that position, they are no longer accountable. So when we attach accountability, then maybe I think things will smoothen out a lot. Yeah, and I think we just need to, all of us together, we need to work on this and bring ICAP out of the phase that it is going through.
So the accountability and getting the feedbacks from the stakeholders, and also I believe that increasing the membership or the members quantity of the ICAP, that's on the card.
Mossadegh, I come from a time like you're talking about now. I was in I started my ICAP journey in what 1990 for 1994,
Around
95.
that, okay.
So the members have increased a lot after that,
Yes.
but still a lot needs to be done.
Yes.
Now, comparing India and Pakistan, first of all, it's not a comparison in the sense that they are, I think, what, like 4 or 5 times larger than us.
Agreed.
And
Mhm.
I know we always have this comparison of India, Pakistan, but we should also see the dynamics around which the two countries operate.
Fair enough.
At the same time, I'm telling you, I think a lot of members have started, like, a lot of students have started taking up this career. When I joined, I think in a class of 150, there were just 4 girls.
Mhm.
And now we see a lot of girls coming
Yes.
in, and that goes for the other gender also.
Mhm.
So the people, and the latest result, you saw how many passed.
Yes.
They said this is the a historic result because so many members have been, like,
Mm.
admitted into, like, the CA
But-
qualification.
But then the demand issue arises.
So it is something that has to be thought through, right from a chain, a whole pipeline has to be designed properly, appropriately, so that a student who comes in can also be placed somewhere, and the job prospects are, like, like tended to and looked into. So it's a whole pipeline that has to be looked into.
Fair enough. Ma'am, reflecting on the accountability thing, if I talk about you being the chairperson of the SRC committee, as we said that we'll discuss it later. So how would you reflect on your so far performance and so far achievement in the role at the SRC committee to contribute to the members and the whole committee?
In SRC, so we had, like, stars in our eyes, thinking that we really make a difference, and we'll do the whatever benefit we can provide to the members and all. But unfortunately, I think that bubble was bursted very soon, because we got to know that SRC can only have limited, functions, and whatever we wanted to do, we found out there's a committee of the council who are going to take this forward. So, in the limited stage that we got, we take as much as we could do. And, I think there are initiatives, like there was a leadership expedition, which had never taken place before, where we had got a training company, and, the members who applied for it, we took them up north, and we took them, like, to a mountainous region or somewhere, and, and we trained them for leadership, so that they can upskill themselves and learn more about, leadership from the expert. Apart from that, I think we believe that sports is an essential, I think, outlet. And because, our students, our members and all get so busy with their routine jobs and sitting on their desk and all, so they don't, like, give much care about their fitness. So for that, I think we started the cricket league, yeah.
Yes.
And you've seen how successfully it is running, and it, like, it has, like, become, I think, one of the star, I would say, like, events for the SRC every year to get. And it also builds a lot of, like, team building, networking, people coming together, and also the spirit of winning and losing,
Yes.
how one is supposed to, respond in such situation. So this has really helped in building, like, team building within the fraternity, I would say. Then we also, like, had, the CBT activities, in learning and all that we, like, tried to, like, have for the members. And I think they were really good programs. A lot of workshops were conducted as part of CASA. We had picnics for them. I think were not there before, because I remember when I took over in the first year and I was the CASA chairman, and there was a lot of, I would say, talk about students wanting to go to the beach for their picnic. But a lot of people, like, were stopping us, saying, no, this is too dangerous, this is too risky. But then what is life? Life is about taking risks, right? Last but not the least, I would say, like, it's something which is very close to my heart, is forming a book club at ICAP. And, through that, I think we have tried our best, to, like, I would just, create a spark about literary things, how people, like, from our profession need to, like, start reading. Because when I come across all these young people, they don't read. When I ask them, what are you reading? Then we read Facebook, we read stuff. And that is not reading. If you don't read, how will you make the Lama Iqbal of Pakistan? That the creativity is not, like,
Thought process, knowledge bank.
Exactly, it was
about
food for
knowledge.
thought, like,
Yes.
it's like food for the soul. Reading is so important. Any forms of reading.
Mhm.
So, that is something that we, like, take pride in at the SRC, that we form the book club so that members can, like stay in touch with the habit of reading. And also after, I think the book, because we launched, I think, 4 books till now, and a lot of corporate and eminent personalities of the corporate sector came to ICAP. We did Zafar Masood's book, Seat One Seat, and we saw Sultana Lana and Mr. Manviwala and all come into ICAP. Even Zafar Masood himself said, I've never been in this building. I've always seen it from outside, but it's such a, it's a good facility. And similarly, with Umar Shahid Hamid, who said the same thing,
Exactly, our profession, ICAP, has not got the recognition which it should get. So you have done these things and you have achieved a lot. The next thing, madam, that talking about the members, both local and the overseas, what are the planned benefits or the ideas that you are going to start? Let me give you one example. In the ICAMAP, that what they are doing, they are providing their members a co-working space on the concessional basis, the concessional rent. And we chartered accountant. Number one thing is that we are the least risk taker. Our profession teaches us this thing. और दूसरा ये है कि चूँकि हम अपनी एक सर्विसेज सेल कर रहे होते हैं, तो अगर आप चाहें अपने मेंबर्स
को एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप की तरफ ले जाना या उनको एम्पावर करना कि वो एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप की तरफ जाएँ। सो ये एक बहुत अच्छी चीज़ मैंने ICMAP की तरफ से देखी कि दे आर प्रोवाइडिंग देयर मेंबर्स co-working space on a concessional rent basis because that's the thing they need to sell the services. So क्या आपके मैनिफेस्टो में, क्या आपके प्लान्स में कुछ इस तरह के बेनिफिट्स हैं फॉर द लोकल मेंबर्स? एंड टॉकिंग अबाउट द फॉरेन और द ओवरसीज मेंबर्स, जब हम पाकिस्तान से बाहर होते हैं, इफ यू आर फेसिंग एनी इशू, वी फील लाइक कि हमारे हाथ पाँव कट चुके हैं, देयर इज़ नो वन टू अकोमोडेट अस. सो in that time the overseas members, they are looking back at the ICAP for the support, for the guidance. So किस तरह से हम उन तमाम चीज़ों को देख रहे होंगे for both local and overseas?
I think one thing that you skipped mentioning are firms.
Yes.
There are also a lot of small tier firms, middle tier firms that need a lot of hand holding. So I think this all has to be thought through, and how we can facilitate our members abroad. That is why I think you need to make the chapters very strong. Where our members who go abroad, they can contact the chapter over there and see how they can build him professionally, build a member professionally over there, what support they can perform. There is a members lounge over here, but I don't think it's being used effectively.
Right.
This is a very valid concern. Hand holding, as I said, it all comes to hand holding. You just don't qualify a student and then let him be. I feel ICAP is like an alma mater.
Yes.
It has to, like a parent looks after a child. That's, I think, how the relationship should be. So you have to hold hand holding, provide that confidence, provide those opportunities, empower that student to member, and also give back as much as you can. But it's a two-way street. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So who will do this? It is the members.
Yes.
They also have to come up to the responsibilities. As I said, nobody came up in the SRC election. So they can't just criticize and then say, okay, what benefit will ICAP give us? You are ICAP.
Yes.
ICAP is not just a building.
Yes.
It is the members, the people, the employees. All these come together to
Collectively
make
they
ICAP.
make it.
Yeah, it's a collective,
Yes.
and it's all us humans who make ICAP. So ICAP itself is just a building.
Yes.
But who is behind that building? Who's carrying that building through? It's the members, it's the employees, it's the students. So we will have to come together and see how we can, as I said, make this institute great again.
Yes.
For overseas members, I believe we need to really strengthen and empower our chapters, whatever that entails, so that they can facilitate the global mobility, and also because now I believe the profession has no borders. It's becoming borderless.
Yes.
With all the technology coming in, there are so many skills. I think digital, AI, ESG, all these are avenues where our members can really play their role.
Exactly.
And these are opportunities for them.
Exactly.
And we have to provide that skill to them, that those
Development.
academic qualifications, those skills, how they can embrace the new wave that is coming in, in the profession. So I think we just need to get our act together. We all need to sit down and see, what opportunities we can provide and to empower our members, students, and the employees.
So to conclude that, as you said in the earlier, that the element which you are going to fulfill is consolidating everyone to work collectively together to make ICAP better, right? सो यस दैट वाज द पॉइंट व्हिच आई वांटेड यू टू एड्रेस के जो हमारे चैप्टर्स हैं, जो मैं देखता हूँ यूएई चैप्टर है, मे बी आयरलैंड चैप्टर है, जो कोई भी है. So, we need the real contribution from their side, and for that, you need the members to come up and step up and, bring out and carry out these activities. So, the final
Sorry
thing.
to interrupt you, Musaddiq, but that is only when you're united.
Exactly,
You know,
consolidation.
yes, yes. When people are united, you can achieve a lot more. But when there's a lot of disgruntlement, disenchantment, then I don't think much can be achieved.
Nothing can be,
So,
एक
so we
अच्छा
need to
खासा.
bring all our people together.
अच्छा, एक लास्ट जो मेरा पर्सनल क्वेश्चन है, बिकॉज व्हेन आई सी द डिफरेंट अकाउंटेंसी बॉडीज, दे इन दैट बॉडीज वी हैव द स्टेक होल्डर्स मॉडल. दे आर वर्किंग ऑन द स्टेक होल्डर्स मॉडल. तो अगर मैं आईकैप के स्टेक होल्डर्स की बात करता हूँ, अगर मैं आईकैप का पीएनएल उठाकर देखता हूँ, तो उसमें सबसे बड़ा जो एक नंबर आ रहा होता है, वी ऑडिटर्स वी लुक एट द थिंग्स एनालिटिकली, तो उसमें सबसे बढ़िया एक नंबर आता है एग्जामिनेशन फ़ी का फ्रॉम द स्टूडेंट्स. तो हमारा एक बहुत बड़ा स्टेक होल्डर स्टूडेंट्स है. देन वी हैव द फर्म्स जो एंड द इंडस्ट्री हु आर प्रोवाइडिंग द एम्प्लॉयमेंट, एंड द टीचर्स, द RAETs and the chapters as well. So what are your plans other than this? You said I will consolidate everyone, I will request them to come on the table, pitch their ideas, their problem. So how are you going to manage all these stakeholders, looking at the recent decrease in the stipend as well? So what are your views on that as well? And on the other thing, do you have any idea about, there is a restriction at the final level that the students have to appear in the two papers, mandatory. They cannot appear in the single paper. So how you're going to safeguard the interest of the different stakeholders in your tenure?
Okay, as I said, I have not been part of the decision making as yet. I do not understand the logic behind or the rationale behind those decisions. So, once one comes into that role, you have to see the history, the legacy, and what needs to be done further ahead.
Yeah, for the future.
For the future, exactly. So, naturally, we have to make sure that a student who is studying CA over here is relevant, and also where who is abreast with all changes that are taking place internationally. Because internationally, I believe all these accountancy qualifications have really upskilled themselves. They, from what it was in the past to what it is now, there's a complete shift and a huge change. I understand that ICAP, they have revised the syllabus, the academics, so that the students can keep abreast of all these changes and embrace whatever changes are coming in. I right now do not understand what has gone into the decision making of a lot of matters. So naturally, when one comes into that role, it is your duty to figure out how you can create opportunities, bring people together, smooth out the differences that are there, and at the end of the just do for the institute.
Exactly.
Yeah.
बिकॉज क्योंकि देखिए ना, मैं आपको अगर एग्जांपल भी दूं अबाउट द चेंजेस, क्लैरिटी एंड ऑल दिस थिंग, देयर इज द नॉट द एग्जैक्ट कंपटीशन, बट यस ACCA एंड ICAP ऑब्वियसली दीज आर द कॉम्पिटिटिव क्वालिफिकेशन विद ईच अदर. सो ACCA के अंदर जो एक न्यू स्कीम आने लगी है 2027 के अंदर. So they have announced all the relevant information, all the schemes from the mid of the 2025. And believe me, if a student is is enrolled in ACCA right now, that student can check कि उसकी कितनी exemption होगी, या उसका क्या status होगा, क्या curriculum होंगे, कौन से पेपर कब से लिए जाएंगे, किस मोड में होंगे. ये तमाम चीज़ें आज से ही communicate कर दी गई हैं, and with so much transparency, so much clarity. So these are the things which we actually look at the ICAP to attract more students to the ICAP, to attract more recognition to the ICAP, increase the brand image and the recognition all over the world. So these are the things which we actually are expecting from the upcoming council. Last एक चीज़, you are a mentor for all of us, you are role model for all of us, being the male or female. What would be your final message to the students, aspiring chartered accountants, or the members of ICAP?
Keep hustling.
Keep hustling.
Keep hustling, yes. Don't get bogged down by disappointments, or don't get disenchanted if things are not going your way. And as I said in my talk with you earlier on, a lot needs to be done. We recognize that fact. But the thing is, given this scenario right now of elections in the council and all, you know, the thing is like we all are ICAP.
Exactly.
You know, we are ICAP. ICAP is not a building, as I just said. You know, we all have to unite. We all have to see how we can, you know, bring this institute to greater heights.
Yes.
As I said, you know, I started out really early in my journey in like mid 90s, you know. And now when I see ICAP, there have been a lot of
For
changes.
sure.
ICAP has really, you know,
Evolve and
I would
grow.
say, yes, you know, like they have embraced changes, they have evolved. It's taken time. And, you know, as you said, it is because the people over here have a conservative mindset. They're not risk takers, you know, they're slow and steady. But at the same time, you know, if you are a member, let me tell you, you owe that to your qualification from ICAP. You know, you can't ignore that fact. You know, you can like, you know, talk bad about ICAP. You, as we said, you know, you bash ICAP. You can say whatever, but at the end of the day, it is your qualification because of which you are where you are. You know, and believe me, Musaddiq, in this profession, I have seen fortunes change. You know, I have seen people coming from very impoverished backgrounds reaching the height of their careers.
Exactly.
You have no idea, you know, heading like organizations. I have seen people going abroad, making their name over there. You know, I don't know why we don't talk about those success stories
We need
of
to.
ICAP. We should. We should talk about that so that people can know, you know, how our members have made a difference, not only in our fraternity, but also the country and also the world at large. You know,
Yes.
our members are placed, some of our members are placed so well internationally, globally. We don't discuss about that.
Yes,
We are just
unfortunately.
talking about all the
Negativities.
limitations, you know, the negative aspects, you know. Don't do that. Don't dwell on negativity. You know, always have a positive attitude. And only then I think, you know, you will be able to see, as they say, you know, the light at the end of the tunnel. And always, like, you know, don't just criticize. Go in the arena, see how you can make a difference.
Exactly. So you know, I really think that this advice would take all the members and the students a long way ahead. So thank you so much for such a, you know, fruitful, healthy discussion and, you know, the guidance from your side. And I hope that हमारे जितने भी जो members हैं, those who are going to vote in the council election, they are going to make a sound decision after looking at all the facts and all the agenda items. सो आई होप कि ये इस पॉडकास्ट से काफ़ी सारी चीज़ें आपको क्लियर हुई होंगी, मैडम के एक्सपीरियंस, मैडम की जर्नी और मैडम के व्यू पॉइंट से बहुत सारी चीज़ें होंगी जो हमें सीखने को मिली होंगी। अपना बेहद ख्याल रखिएगा, फिर मुलाकात होगी अगले इसी तरह के इंटरेस्टिंग पॉडकास्ट के अंदर। अल्लाह हाफ़िज़।